What's up, YouTube? It's your boy Disco from the Big Draft Energy YouTube channel. Today, I have for you our anytime touchdown parlay for the entire Week 11 slate. Week 11 is upon us as I'm recording this. It's November 14th, just before 12:30 p.m. Eastern Time. With that being said, we've been shooting at just above 73% on our anytime touchdown props on a weekly basis. Our goal, obviously, is to hit the big parlay, and we got 14 props, one from each game, starting with AJ Brown for tonight's Thursday night football game. Washington gives up 1.2 receiving touchdowns on a weekly basis. That's the fifth most advantageous matchup for receivers on the week. More often than not, the elite wide receiver one finds the end zone against the Commanders. So that's number one. Number two, we got George Pickens against the Baltimore Ravens. It's plus 150 odds. Baltimore gives up 1.6 receiving TDs per game to opposing wideouts, which is the most advantageous matchup on the week. Pickens on the season has been targeted 28% on pass attempts when either Justin Fields or Russell Wilson drops back, and that number has increased since Russ has taken over since the week 7th. It's the 18th most targeted receiver on the year. Since week 7, on week 7, he was actually targeted 33% of the time, and he had 3 red zone targets. Week 8, he was targeted 18.5% of the time against New York Giants. Is a weird game, but he also had 1 target in the red zone. Week 9, obviously, he had a bye. Week 10, he had 26.9% of the targets versus the Commanders, and he found the end zone and was targeted in the red zone as well. So love George Pickens in the spot as well. Let's talk about game 3. We got Nick Chubb against the New Orleans Saints, plus 100 odds. The Saints give up the second most rushing touchdowns on a weekly basis on the season at 1.2 rushing touchdowns per game, and they are the most advantageous matchup on the week for running backs since Carolina's on a bye. Chubb's seen an increase of usage. We're not really counting the blowout loss to the Chargers in week 9. Game script called for more passing touchdowns, and obviously they had a bye week last week. Game script is favorable to the Browns to control the time of possession because the Saints allow 21.9 rush attempts to opposing backs on a weekly basis, and the 7th most rushing yards on a weekly basis at 113.30 rushing yards per game to opposing backs. We love Nick Chubb for an anytime touchdown. Once again, plus 100 odds there. Number 4, game 4, we got Josh Jacobs against the Chicago Bears. When reading the advantages, it's tough to find an outlier in this particular game. Yes, the Packers give up 1 receiving touchdown to opposing wide receivers on a weekly basis, but I don't trust Caleb Williams and the other wideouts. Where there's an advantage is the Bears allow 0.89 rushing touchdowns on a weekly basis to opposing running backs. That's the 10th most advantageous matchup in football and the 9th most advantageous matchup in the week. Coming in at number 5, game 5, we got Indianapolis versus New York Jets. And yes, I get it. The Jets have been absolutely atrocious, and as a Patriots fan, I am here for it. Go Pats. With that being said, we are betting on Devontae Adams because Colts give up 0.9 receiving touchdowns to opposing wide receivers on a weekly basis. Adams, since coming into New York in week 7, has been easily Aaron Rodgers' favorite target. Week 7, he had 9 targets, tied for 3rd on the week with 1 red zone target. Week 8, he had 6 targets with 2 in the red zone. Week 9, he had 11 targets. That's 34% of Rodgers' throws. Week 10, he had 13 targets, 4 of them coming into the red zone. He usually is earning the majority of the targets, especially in the money zone. All right, game 6, we got the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Detroit Lions. I'm going with Amon-Ra St. Brown, plus 110 odds. Jags give up 1 receiving touchdown to opposing wideouts on a weekly basis. That's 12th most advantageous matchup on the week. It very well could be David Montgomery for an anytime touchdown because it's advantageous there, or Gibbs, even Laporta should he suit up. But I do like Amon-Ra St. Brown. He's been cooking, and I'm going to keep rocking with the Sun God. All right, coming in at number 7, I really considered Demario Douglas here because it is a good matchup, but the Patriots give up at least 1 rushing touchdown per week. It's the 3rd most advantageous matchup in the week. Can't really deny that. Love Kyren Williams. That's minus 200 odds. This next one, you guys are going to hate me for it. Feel free to ignore this next portion. I'm not. I bet on it. You could too, but make sure you guys tail at your own risk because at the end of the day, this is a stupid bet, and this is a guy that, like, I'm in too deep. And that's Zamir White, plus 500. It's stupid. Dolphins run D is tied for 2nd most advantageous matchup on the week for RBs finding the end zone After a week to get healthy coming off the Raiders bye, I anticipate that Zamir will get more usage, especially if the Raiders find themselves in the end zone. Feel free to skip this one, though. Game 9, Minnesota versus Tennessee. Justin Jefferson minus 105. It's not advantageous at all. Actually, it's more advantageous for the receivers for the Tennessee side. So Calvin Ridley and whatnot. I just don't trust Will Levis. I'm not overthinking it. Justin Jefferson, he's a gamer. Borderline matchup proof. Should be matchup proof. I'm riding with him. Game 10, we got Bijan Robinson. Once again, I will say this matchup actually favors Cortland Sutton and his fellow Broncos wideouts as one of the more advantageous matchups when looking at this game. It's the sixth most. The Falcons give up the sixth most receiving touchdowns to opposing wideouts at 1.2 per game. I just hate betting on guys I don't like, and I really don't like the wide receivers. It's way too volatile there. It could be freaking Vele or little Jordan Humphrey. So, I mean, it could be Cortland Sutton. With that being said, I do like Bijan Robinson to find the end zone this week and every single week. Let's go to number 11. We got Deebo Samuel. And yes, this is a picture of him punching the long snapper and beefing the freaking kicker. Figure it out, guys. Get the kicks in. You got one job. Kickers are not people too. Anyways, shout out to Deebo Samuel. Dude's an absolute bully, living up to the moniker. They're playing the Seattle Seahawks, and if you guys recall, he absolutely destroys Seattle every single time they play, and they play twice a year. I love Deebo Samuel plus 150, and it's also the 8th most advantageous matchup on the week for opposing wideouts to find the end zone. The Seahawks allow 1.11 receiving touchdowns on a weekly basis to opposing wideouts. All right, coming in at number 12, we got Kareem Hunt versus the Buffalo Bills. Bills defense has allowed at least one touchdown to opposing backs in the last 3 weeks, either rushing or receiving, sometimes even two. I mean, Zach Charbonnet found the end zone a couple of weeks ago against them. So, yeah, they've also been playing a lot of nickel defense. And if you guys don't know what that means that there's a lot lighter boxes. I like Kareem Hunt in this spot. It's a really good spot for him. It could be P. Ryan, but I'm betting on Hunt because he's been getting at least 70% of the snaps when the Kansas City Chiefs are on the field since he's been in the lineup. All right, this one. Game 13. Don't overthink it. Jamar Chase, no matter what. We call him as our wide receiver 1 last week. Absolutely smashed. And we're very high on him this week. He's our wide receiver 3. Don't overthink it. Jamar Chase, no matter what. That's why. All right. And coming in at number 4, game 14, Joe Mixon against the Dallas Cowboys. It's actually a very favorable matchup for the Dallas Cowboys wide receivers to find the end zone. But as long as Cooper Rush is the quarterback there, I don't really like it. Now, if you were to parlay all of this, and once again, tail at your own risk, if you do have gambling problems, make sure you seek help. You would $10 would earn you $413,521 I bet on it. You could bet on it too. Thank you guys for tuning in and supporting. While we're at it, we might as well just build a drafters fantasy. Let's build a drafters fantasy pick'em ticket here together. So here on Drafters Fantasy, we're going to pick 8 of our favorite props that will 100x our Dollarooskies. And we're going to pick props that we think are locks. If you want to tail, make sure you use promo code DISCO to double your initial deposit up to $100 Dollarooskies. All transactions are done in U.S. currency, by the way. I live in Canada. That's why I mention it. So I'm looking at this game right now, and I do like A.J. Brown's longest reception, but I'm not betting on that, so I don't think it's an absolute lock. I will say Jake Elliott over 7.5 kicker points. I absolutely love. I think it's a smash. I'm going to bet on George Pickens' longest reception of 26.5 for his longest receptions. I really do like that. I also like Boswell and Justin Tucker, but that's no, we're not doing that. Next, I like Nick Chubb's rushing yards at 58.5. I think that's free, especially since the Saints give up over 111 yards per game to opposing running backs. So I'm going to bet on that one. I'm going to skip out on this Green Bay game. I don't really love it. AJ, I do like, Jonathan Taylor's rushing yards is really high. So I'm not going to bet on that game either. I will bet on the Drake May longest rush at 12.5. He seems to get that on a weekly basis. Absolutely love that prop. I'm going to continue to love it. I also like Demario Douglas over his longest reception. It's free receiving yards over there, so I'm going to add that. We got 3 bets left to add, so we'll continue to look. I'm going to go with Jalen Waddle. Oh, no, I'm not going to go with that one. I'm not going to go with that one. We'll go with over 13.5 rushing yards for Will Levis. He's averaging over 17.5 rushing yards per game. So I really like him in the spot. He's going to be running for his life. I'm going to go with Bo Nix over his longest rush at 11.5. That's hit more often than not. And then last but not least, we're going to go Tyler Lockett over his longest reception. Oh, it doesn't give us that option, unfortunately. So we're not going to bet on that game. We're not going to bet on that game either. Jamar Chase, longest reception, over 23.5. He's been getting anywhere between 27 to 28 on a weekly basis. So we're going to smash that. We're going to put $10. If you guys want to tail at your own risk. But make sure you use promo code DISCO to double your initial deposit up to $100 Rooskies. Here's the ticket, ladies and gentlemen. $10 will earn you $1,000. Thank you guys for rocking with me. I appreciate you. Love you. Until next time, which is tonight at 7 p.m. Eastern time, we'll be doing our Thursday night football locks with Sleazeball, where we'll be actually building some more drafters, pick 'em tickets. Shout out to you guys. Love you guys. Until next time, peace.